Welcome back to Investing Talk Podcast. Today, we're taking a close look at Alight.
ALIT.
Yeah. Exactly. You shared some really interesting articles and reports about them, and our mission today is basically to unpack what's most important for listeners to understand right now.
Mm-hmm.
We've got info covering, their core business, recent financials, what analysts are thinking, and even some new developments.
Right. Kind of a full picture.
Think of it as your personalized briefing on Alight. So let's start with the basics. Alight is in cloud-based human capital and tech-enabled services.
That sounds quite corporate, doesn't it?
It does. So what does that actually mean for the companies using their services?
Well, it essentially boils down to this. Alight gives companies the digital tools and the support that goes with them to manage their people effectively.
Okay.
So think things like employee benefits, health insurance, retirement plans, that sort of thing.
Got it.
Plus services to help employees, figure out healthcare options, manage time off, even focus on financial well-being.
Okay, so quite broad then.
Yeah, and their main platform, Alight Worklife, kind of pulls it all together. It's a hub for employers to oversee health, wealth, well-being, abscess.
The whole employee life cycle, almost.
Pretty much, yeah. And the goal is ultimately to boost engagement and productivity.
That makes sense. Streamlining critical HR stuff with tech. Now, something that really jumped out from the info was the stock price movement. Seems like it's been on a bit of a ride.
Yeah, it's putting it mildly.
Yeah.
The stock's journey over the past year definitely shows some market uncertainty, you could say.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at just the last month, it's been trading around, $5.89, which is actually a little bit up from some earlier lows.
Okay, a slight uptick recently.
But if you look back 6 months, there's been a pretty noticeable drop from highs that were near $9.45.
Oh.
And then zooming out to the full year, it's really fluctuated. I mean, we're talking a range between $4.49 and $9.92.
Wow, that's quite a range.
It is. And the general trend over that year has been, downwards. This kind of volatility, that's often a sign,
A sign of what, usually?
could be the company's navigating changes. Or maybe the market's just still figuring out its long-term value.
Definitely something for investors to keep a close eye on then. Let's dig into their financial health. The numbers can tell a deeper story sometimes.
For sure.
What key figures jumped out at you?
Well, the financial picture is a bit of a mix, really.
How so?
So for 2024, revenue came in at $2.33 billion. That's actually down slightly, about 2.26% compared to the year before.
Okay, revenue dip, not ideal.
Not ideal, no. And they also reported a net loss, $157 million for 2024.
Still in the red then.
Still in the red, but interestingly, that loss is actually smaller than the loss they reported back in 2023.
Okay, so an improvement on the bottom line, even with lower revenue.
Seems that way, yeah. Which you could suggest maybe better cost management or something along those lines. The earnings per share for the last 12 months is negative $0.29.
Right.
But on a more positive note, their debt-to-equity ratio looks quite manageable, around 0.46.
Okay, so not overly leveraged.
Seems reasonable. And interestingly, one source mentioned a slightly different 2024 revenue figure, $2,332 million. Pretty close, though. And they've given a projection for 2025 revenue, somewhere between $2,318 and $2,388 million.
So potentially flat to slightly up for next year.
Based on that range, yeah. But they've also set a more ambitious midterm target, aiming for 4-6% annual revenue growth by 2027.
Okay, 4-6%. That's a fair bit higher than the recent trend.
It is. Shows some confidence from management, I suppose.
So we've got this slight revenue decline, a smaller loss, but these projections for significant growth acceleration, which brings us neatly to the red flags and silver linings.
Right, the balancing act.
What did you identify on both sides of that coin?
Well, the obvious red flags or points of concern are that falling revenue and the fact they're still losing money. The sources definitely highlighted those.
Understandable.
And the stock's volatility, plus that downward trend we talked about, might make some investors a bit nervous. But on the flip side, the silver linings. Alight does have a strong position in its market. It's a known player. And that Alight Worklife platform seems like a real asset, especially with the recent upgrades they've made.
What kind of upgrades?
Things like integrating with Microsoft Teams that makes it way easier for employees to access.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And they launched a new employer reporting and analytics platform. That's powered by their AI, which they call Alight Lumen AI.
AI-powered analytics. That sounds valuable for employers.
Likely, yeah, providing better insights. And then there were those management targets we mentioned, the 4-6% revenue growth and also aiming for a 30% EBITDA margin by 2027.
EBITDA, remind us quickly.
Right. Earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. That's a common measure of sort of core operating profitability.
Got it. So management is clearly signaling they believe a turnaround is coming.
That seems to be the message, yes.
It really does sound like a company at a bit of a crossroads. Current challenges, but potential down the line. What are the analysts saying? And, general public sentiment?
It's actually quite interesting
Yeah.
because despite the stock performance in those current financials,
Yeah?
analysts are generally pretty positive. The ratings tend to lean towards strong buy
Mm.
or moderate buy.
Really?
Yeah.
Even with the losses?
Apparently so.
Yeah.
And the average 12-month price target is sitting around $10.19.
Okay, that's significantly higher than where it's trading now.
It is. Suggests they see real upside potential, perhaps believing the current valuation is attractive given future prospects.
Mm-hmm.
And we've also seen some positive news lately, Alight expanding its partner network, which could broaden their reach.
Right.
And those ongoing enhancements to Alight Worklife seem to be getting good feedback. That might be contributing to the optimism.
So a real disconnect between the recent stock chart and the analyst view. Fascinating.
It often happens when a company's in transition.
How does Alight stack up against the competition? It
Yeah.
seems like a busy space.
Well, it's definitely competitive. They're up against some big established players.
Like who?
You've got companies like ADP and Paychex. They've been doing payroll and HR outsourcing forever, basically.
Household names in HR.
Exactly. And then you got the more modern cloud-native providers like Workday offering these big integrated HR and finance systems.
Right. Workday's a major force.
For sure. So where does Alight fit in? Their differentiation seems to be around using AI specifically for benefits management and also having a really strong focus on employee well-being.
Ah, the well-being angle.
Yeah, emphasizing things like healthcare navigation, financial wellness tools. That focus might set them apart from the more traditional payroll guys, or even the broader platform players.
That well-being focus does feel very relevant right now. So looking ahead, what are the key things people following Alight should be watching? Milestones, events?
Definitely the next earnings report. That's scheduled for May 7th, 2025, according to the source.
Okay, pencil that date in.
That'll give us the latest snapshot of performance and, importantly, maybe some commentary on whether they're hitting those initial steps towards the midterm target.
You're right, tracking progress towards that 4-6% growth goal.
Exactly. That will be crucial. Beyond that, broader economic conditions always matter. Regulatory changes in healthcare or benefits could impact them, and just how well they execute against that intense competition.
Lots of variables.
And don't forget, they just finished a big tech modernization project. So now the focus shifts to making that payoff through operational efficiency and keeping clients happy.
Client retention must be huge for them.
Absolutely. Oh, and one specific milestone mentioned was hitting their 200th pension risk transfer transaction. That seems to be a specific growth area for them.
Interesting niche. Okay, lots to watch. We also saw some recent changes in leadership, didn't we?
Yes, some shifts at the top. Notably, a new chairman of the board.
Who's that?
Russell P. Fridden took over from William P. Foley-Tessick as chairman, effective March 1st, 2025, though Foley is staying on the board.
Okay, a transition there.
And they also brought in 3 new independent directors, Robert Schreisheim, Robert Lopes Jr., and Mike Hayes.
New faces on the board? What does that usually signal?
It can mean a few things. Sometimes it signals a shift in strategy, or maybe just bringing in some fresh perspectives or specific expertise to help guide the company.
Makes sense. Good to see governance updates. Now let's circle back quickly to valuation and financial strength. Any other metrics worth highlighting?
Well, as we said, a PE ratio isn't really applicable right now since they're not profitable.
Right.
But that debt to equity we mentioned, around 47%, it suggests, a moderate amount of leverage, not extreme.
Okay.
What's quite forward-looking and potentially encouraging is their free cash flow projection. They're aiming for $250 to $285 million in free cash flow for 2025.
Free cash flow being the actual cash generated after investments.
Exactly. And they have a longer-term goal, aiming for about $1 billion in cumulative free cash flow between 2025 and 2027.
$1 billion over 3 years. That would be a significant turnaround in cash generation.
It would. Shows they expect profitability and efficiency to improve substantially. Their return on equity is negative currently, of course, because of the losses.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and one other point. They actually started paying a dividend in Q4 2024.
Really? Even while unprofitable?
Seems so. The sources didn't give much detail on the amount or how consistent it'll be, but initiating a dividend is often seen as a sign of confidence from management about future cash flows.
Interesting move. And historically, what's their growth been like?
Historically, revenue growth has averaged about 2.1% per year.
Okay, so that 4-6% target is definitely an acceleration from their past performance.
Absolutely. They're aiming to shift gears.
Okay, and finally, let's just revisit that recent stock dip. Based on everything you reviewed, what's the thinking on why it happened?
The sources suggested a couple of potential reasons. One theory is a sort of delayed reaction, a lag effect from some contract losses that happened in previous periods.
Ah, okay, so past issues still impacting the present.
Possibly, yeah. These things can take time to fully wash through the financials and investor perception. The other factor, of course, is just broader market conditions.
Sure, tech stocks have been volatile, the general economy.
Exactly. Those wider trends can pull down individual stocks, even if the company's specific news isn't all bad.
Right.
But again, analysts seem to be looking past that, focusing on the strategic shift towards digital transformation and those platform enhancements as drivers for future growth and potentially a stock recovery.
Okay, so to sort of wrap this all up for our listeners, Alight really does present a complex, kind of mixed picture, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. You've got clear challenges, the current lack of profit, the recent revenue trend,
Mm-hmm.
but you also have significant strengths. Their market position, that technology platform, and this quite positive outlook from analysts, which is notable.
Yeah, that analyst view is key.
So that upcoming earnings report on May 7th and tracking their progress towards those midterm targets, those are going to be really crucial indicators to watch.
Definitely. It's a company in transformation, no doubt. And hopefully, this discussion, drawing from all that information you shared, gives everyone a much clearer handle on Alight right now.
Hope so. It covers where they are and where they're trying to go.
We certainly hope this has been insightful for you all. If you found value in this, please do consider subscribing, maybe give us a like, and leave a comment. It really helps us bring you more analysis like this.
Yep, helps us know what you want to hear about.
And finally, just a thought to leave you with as you continue to watch Alight. Given that dual focus they have, pushing technological innovation with things like AI, while also trying to boost operational efficiency, how might their specific position in the HR tech space evolve, especially with, ongoing economic shifts and this growing demand for better employee well-being solutions?
That's a good question. How do those internal priorities meet the external trends?
Exactly, something to mull over. Thanks for tuning in.